precision matters. Our medical experts use advanced, data-driven treatments to optimize performance, recovery, and longevity. Live longer, stronger, with Gameday Men's Health.
I can't tell you how many people have said I've saved their life. Anytime I would see unhealthy individuals, like I don't see like somebody sees somebody that's out of shape, right? There's a fat guy.
Right.
That wasn't how my mind thought. My mind thought there's a sick guy. That individual's sick. And what you're doing, man, probably even more important than what I'm doing, man. It's like just helping dads connect with their children. The ancient knowledge stuff that I was trying to study and learn about just led me down a path to God.
I never introduced my children to a girl I was dating. Just wouldn't do it. I just felt that I was not going to have them see a woman unless I knew that that woman was going to be someone permanent in my life and in theirs.
If you truly love yourself and you don't want to have kids, okay, maybe that's the right decision for you. But if you do that self-assessment and you come out of it thinking, hey, maybe I don't love myself, maybe a child and a family could be that thing that makes you love yourself.
You already know what time it is.
Welcome to the Dad Side.
Hello, and welcome to the Dad Side. I'm excited to share this episode with you guys today, the owner and founder of the Alamo Ranch Gameday Men's Health. Not only that, but he is a bonus dad, something that I am true to heart with, a subject that is very, very close to me, and wanted to share his dad side with the world today. On top of that, he is a disabled veteran, he proudly served in the United States Navy, and today he's going to share his journey of being a bonus dad, an entrepreneur, and about another one of his passions, which is men's health. We're going to discuss all that today in today's episode as we dive in, and join us today with Vern Lieb. Today, welcome to the Dad Side.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, thank you.
Yeah, dude. Awesome, man.
And I will give the listeners and viewers that are on today a little background of how you and I met.
Yeah.
And so I made a post on the a Facebook group, Dads, Lone Star Dads, the San Antonio chapter. And so the reason why I made that post is because I wanted to give an opportunity to a special needs father to share their testimony on what it is like and the challenges that brought when you're raising a child with those circumstances. And Chris Sanford, episode 9, was able to do that. And Vern reached out to me. It was very interesting that he had reached out to me, not because he had a child with special needs, but because he also is a dad and wanted to share his story and just kind of wanted to piggyback and support what it is I'm doing. And I'll go ahead and let Vern share a little bit more about that and why you reach out to me.
Yeah, man, I saw that post, and I've been a part of that page for a little while ever since I got involved with the Dads Tribes. I'm doing some sponsorship with Dads Tribes, and so that's kind of how I came across that group. And I saw your post, man, and it was about fathers and sons, or fathers and kids, right?
Right.
And so it aligned with, first of all, with my sponsorship with Dads Tribes and what I'm trying to do there. But really, it just aligns with my business and what I do here and what I provide here from it. I provide services like testosterone, peptides, weight loss, ED services, and a few other things. But a lot of what I do here provides energy, right? It provides energy, or it provides recovery, and it's things that make you present with your children. It clears your head. It makes you focused, driven. But more so than anything, it's energy and recovery and a lot of other things that, when you get home from the end of your days, you're actually there for your children, to spend time with your children, to actually be present with your children,
right.
not just be a dad that's there, And so when I saw your post about a podcast with dads, dads and children, I hadn't really thought about that yet. I was like, oh man, that's a unique take right there. I was like, and that could be a good way to reach people for the services that I provide to them, and also be able to give back to them and give them a chance to, like I said, to be present with their children and be a lot more there for their kids and not just be there.
I love that.
And I'm also somebody, man, I think I've talked to you about this already. I really believe in divine intervention and things like that. So when certain opportunities present themselves, I like to jump at it and at least explore that opportunity. And so, I just looked at that as one of those another connecting the dots pieces, man. So when I saw your post, it's like, hey, something told me to reach out to you, kind of see what you had going on, see where you're at with this and kind of, and see if maybe I can get involved with it as well, and then maybe even help grow it.
Sure.
Reach some more dads, help my business in the return as well. But really reach more dads and help a lot more dads, like I said, be present with their children and just improve their lives and improve their lives with their children.
And I want to just, tell you personally, just thank you.
Yeah,
I know I told you when I first responded to the post and when we met, and I just can't thank you enough. I mean, just everything that I do with this podcast is helping and reaching more dads. Yeah. And so I'm at a point right now with this being so new that I haven't really figured out how to get to that next level of just viewership and listenership. And so I know we're going to get there. I'm not worried about it. I don't stress out about that at all. But it was a godsend when you sent that message, because I'm a forward thinker.
Yeah.
So I've already put together business plans, different scenarios, because I watch Shark Tank, right? So I'm throwing these different things out, like, hey, waiting for the opportunity to reach out to someone. And it's so funny. I'd already started putting together sponsorship proposals, and just don't know where I was going to go with it. Right. I don't know how I was going to approach anyone. And so just because I have a strong history of sales, I knew that if I just go out and start talking to people, I just didn't want to align myself with any business, though, because I can go and speak to businesses. I have no problem doing so. And I know I will get eventually, you knock on enough doors, you're going to get somebody that's going to be willing to listen to you, and eventually get a person to, buy into what it is that you're selling.
You're a sales guy, law of averages, right?
Exactly. Law of averages, 100%. I was taught that at an early age. I know you told me about your early sales career.
Sales too, back in the day.
Yep. So when you reach out to me, it kind of just like, it took so much pressure off of my shoulder from having even worry about that next process, because that to me was just the start of what I want to accomplish by you jumping on board and offering that just a little bit of help to just hopefully get to that next level of just dads being able to hear these stories. I couldn't be more thankful.
It's like I mentioned the fact of one of the reasons for doing this is obviously to grow my business, right? But that's not the main reason to do it. The main reason I really, I've told you this before too, man. I got in this business because I'm so passionate about health and wellness. I want people to be healthy, and I know what it means to be healthy, both physically and mentally, right? And so I'm really into this to give back to these dads, to give back to these individuals, to improve their lives, man. Because the products and the services and my expertise that my team here provides to people, that's what it does. It really does improve your life. In so many different ways, physically, mentally, spiritually, so many different ways. And we've been open for 17 months, man, and I've seen that literally hundreds of times already. And it's amazing the change you see in these men, man. And so when I came across what your post and what you were doing, I was like, man, we can extend this to even more dads and have that same energy and those same changes I'm seeing in my patients here, carry over to so many more dads and just make them so much more present and involved in their kids' lives. That's why I want to do it, man. I really do want to help people out. I want to extend what we do here and just improve the lives of these men, man. So this is just an avenue of doing that, and there's no better way of doing it with fathers and their children.
No, I really appreciate it. Like I said, everything I do is for dads, and just to know how you're aligned with your business and being a bonus dad to your daughter. I really want to talk about that. So then we'll talk about the men's health stuff. I definitely want to get into that, but let's start in the root of how you became a father, and go ahead and just talk about that a little bit.
I'm shocked. Let me start there, because I'm somebody that never wanted kids. Never. I'm talking, my mom can tell you, man, as young as I got what age she probably heard it from out of my mouth the very first time that I ever wanted to have kids.
You have siblings?
I have
How many
siblings? I have a full brother and sister and 2 half sisters. But I just my whole entire life growing up, I knew I never wanted kids.
What was the reason?
To be honest with you, man, they annoyed me. That was really the reason for it. As a kid, being around little children, the constant crying and screaming and stuff, it just wasn't me. I didn't like it, and I didn't want to be around it. And so it was just a vibe. I just knew inherently that I didn't want to have kids.
Well, that's an honest answer, because for the most part, I mean, I felt the same way in a sense. Not that they annoyed me, but I just didn't want kids. I was okay with not having kids. My years got older, and I was like, okay, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and that's how I was. I never felt that drive to be a father, man. I just never felt it. Growing up, and even to this day, I'm very, I don't know if you call me introverted, but very solo, if you will. I have no problem kind of going off, doing my own thing, being my own little bubble. Didn't need to be around people, things like that. Very content in my own space, my own personal space. And so I guess that vibe, or that family vibe of needing to be around family, needing to be around kids or having kids, I just didn't feel that. I didn't.
And were
have
you that as an early age too?
Oh, as early as I can remember, man. Yeah, as early as I can remember. My parents will tell you, it's like, yeah, I could just go off into seclusion and be by myself for all day long and be perfectly fine. But and the same thing with the kids. I just never wanted kids. And I didn't hate kids by any means or
Sure.
anything like that. I didn't hate being around them when I was around family members and things like that. I just knew inside me that it wasn't my thing and it wasn't what I was going to do growing up. I wasn't going to have a kid growing up.
Sure. And I think that's a much wiser decision than having one and either not wanting to
Not
be
ready
there
for it.
or just doing the wrong things.
Yeah, not ready for it. Yeah, and it really extended, man. It extended into my dating life. I refused to date women that had children. I didn't want to get involved with somebody that had kids in case it got serious and move to a different level.
Sure.
And so for the longest time, man, my whole entire dating life until, well, my current wife now, mid-30s, man, I didn't even seriously date any girls that had children.
And how old were you when you met?
Casual dating, taking out somebody out on a date, meeting
Right.
somebody at a bar, something like that. That's
Okay.
different, right? But in terms of getting serious with somebody, that was never it was part of the plan. Like never to get involved with somebody that had kids because I didn't want it to get serious and have to end it, you know.
Sure.
And so that's just where I knew I was, man. I just knew that I was there, and that's just how my life was going to be, and I was perfectly content with it.
I love the honesty.
Yeah,
honestly,
man.
I do. And how old were you when you met your wife?
I was 30, almost 33, just about to turn 33 when I met my wife.
And you met her, and she had a daughter.
Yeah, she had a daughter. Yeah, at that time she was 4 years old. Obviously, I didn't know that right off the bat, but after getting to know her just a little bit, it only took I think 2 dates. We eventually found that part out. And even with her, I took that same kind of approach, man. It was going to be a casual thing. I didn't really want to get serious at the point in time. And just, one thing after the next is going to happen, man, and the story ended up coming too, man. And obviously, we're going to dive more into that. But it just ended up, it played out naturally, man. And I couldn't be more blessed to where I'm at now, man. Because it is, and I know we're going to get more deep into this, but it was the biggest blessing of my life.
It is, yeah.
And my daughter kind of feels the same way too. So
that's cool.
And we'll get into that stuff of why. But things happen for a reason, right?
No,
So,
I firmly believe that. When I met the mother of my two children, she already had two children as well. They were 6 and 8, and it was the same thing. But I felt the same way about not wanting children. But I met her. Honestly, I fell in love with the children more so than I did with the relationship at the time.
Yeah.
And I was just so drawn to them children.
Yeah.
I knew what it was like to have a stepdad growing up. I knew it was like for that to be, a thing where I didn't like the man that my mom was dating.
Right.
I had an abusive stepdad.
Yeah.
My little brother's dad was abusive to me. Wasn't abusive to him, but he was abusive to me. Piece of crap to this day. My stepdad raised him when he was 5 years old, and me when I was 15, 10 years apart. He didn't have to raise me, but I was already in
Checked
deep,
out, right?
checked out completely.
Checked out, yep.
But for him to take on that role and that responsibility of dealing with someone like me, at the time, he kept me in check by just not allowing me to disrespect my mother,
Right.
and not disrespect the home.
Yep.
And I appreciated the communication.
Yeah.
Oh, there was times when he flew off the handle. I deserved it. There was nothing that happened in our interactions, Dave. I know if you listen to this, I love you. I appreciate it. The times you blew up on me and told me whatever, I deserved every bit of it. Okay, I know that.
Yep.
But knowing that missing puzzle piece is important to a child, I wanted to be that right away.
Yeah.
So I fell into the role, I absorbed it, and I didn't want children. Gabriella wasn't born until I was 32 years old.
Right.
And so kind of like that same thing, I was already traveled, already did the whole worldly of everything, and now I was ready to be a dad.
Right.
And so how long were you guys dating before you decided that, okay, I'm going to break my rule?
Yeah, so it was a little while. It was, we initially started off dating. It was a few months, if I remember correctly, a few months at first, where it was kind of seclusive, if you will, first few months. Hit a kind of a little rocky patch, kind of went our separate ways for a little bit. Did the on again, off again thing for probably about a year. I think a total of about, from the time meeting her till we finally started getting serious was probably about a year and a half into it all. If I know my math right, I'm sure she's gonna get on me for this, but
It was 11 months.
Yeah, I want to say it was about a year and a half before we finally decided to get serious. And it was kind of more on my side, when I first met her, I was coming out of a relationship at the time, a pretty long relationship. So that was another reason I wasn't really looking to get in a relationship at the time. So it was mostly my fault, just kind of messing around a little bit, not being serious enough, and dated her on again, off again for about a year and a half before I finally realized that time to grow up a little bit and pursue a real relationship. And she was always such a sweetheart and a perfect woman, man. So she was the right person to make it happen with.
That's awesome. I love to hear that story.
Yeah.
And your daughter, she was 4 at that time.
Yeah, so she was 4 when I first met her. Year.
So about
year again,
5.5, 6.
Yeah, about 5.5, 6 is when me and her mom got real serious. Mom was still living at the parents' house with the daughter. I had an apartment at the time, and when we got real serious, we started spending, the weekends that she had her, and she wasn't with her biological father. She started coming over, spending nights at the apartment, things like that. Started coming over to the apartment, spending nights, things like that, bringing the dog over and things like that. So that's kind of how our family life kind of started.
Wow.
It kind of started there by them coming over, visiting, coming to the apartment, and spending weekends together. And then it started to build and build and build. We did that for quite a little while. I don't know exactly how long we were doing that before we finally decided, hey, it's like, this is getting serious enough. Let's stop doing this. Let's move in together. And so we decided to go ahead and move in together. And so we moved in when she was 7. So 2017 is when we moved in. We've been there ever since. So we're going on 10 years now. And it actually wasn't all glorious when we first started.
Yeah,
man. It's like,
I get it.
Well, it was really weird because she was at that 5.5, 6-year-old time frame, right? And so it was one thing when she was coming over to my house and staying at the house and stuff, because her dad was still a part of her life at this point in time. He's no longer really a part of her life anymore, and we can talk about that as well. But at that point in time, he was a part of her life, not because he wanted to be. It was more about the stepmom that was kind of keeping him involved, if you will. But you can't tell that to a 5.5, 6-year-old girl, right? It's daddy's daddy, right?
Yeah.
So when we transitioned to the house to be a family, things kind of started to change a little bit.
The dynamic of everything.
Yeah, well, I think it was I think it was twofold. I think dad was putting some things into her ear, and I think just her being a 5.5, 6-year-old girl, daddy's daddy. Who are you? Who am I living with now?
Right.
I think there was a little bit of that going on. And so we had to go through a little bit of a rough patch for the first, I'd say probably about a year, when dad was still a part of her life. And then when some things started changing on that front, that's when our relationship really started to blossom and bloom and get a lot bigger. So first year was pretty rough, living in the house, not when we were doing the apartment thing, but living in the house. And then it started to get a lot better in terms of our relationship. It was kind of sad of what happened with her and her father's relationship. I mean, it's all his fault, but it really helped us bond, and it was what brought us to where we are now. And she's my daughter. I'm her dad.
I love it.
She's even about to get a tattoo on her rib cage right here. She just graduated high school. She's about to get a tattoo on her rib cage that says, everything happens for a reason.
Wow.
It's her favorite saying.
I love it.
And I'm a big part of that.
That's awesome.
So it's it was a work in progress, man, but it's a glorious where we're at now.
That's awesome. And then for you to, and it's so crazy. I know there had to have been some struggles internally going through that time, because here you are, 30 plus years of doing your own thing.
Yep.
You already have this mantra of I'm doing things my way, and I'm not going to get involved, right? And you made that decision.
Yep.
You jumped into it. Things are rocky.
Yep.
You move in. They're rocky for a whole year.
Yeah.
How do you during that year know that things are going to get better?
To be honest, man, probably really didn't in the very beginning. It's like I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to play out. I always knew that I was going to be a good father. Even if I was going to be a father, I knew I would be a good father. Now, not that I never had any plans to be a father, obviously, but I knew if I was one, that I'd be a good one.
Right.
Great examples, and I knew I'd be a good one. And so, even when things were rough in that beginning, I was I was still doing my part, making sure to be that example and be that stepfather at the time. And I knew things were going to eventually get better. I knew it wasn't going to stay that rocky as it was right out of the gate, in that first go around. So I knew it was going to get better. I have patience, man. I can wait it out a little bit. So I just planned to wait it out a little bit, knowing that it was going to get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then obviously, like I said, some things happened with dad that made it kind of take a turn, and they got a lot better on my front. And it it forced some things to happen with us. But so that getting better part came a lot quicker than I thought it was going to come, to be honest.
So, and you said a little bit about that. You want to touch a little bit more about that, about him not being in her life anymore?
Yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, it's a story as old as time, right? Just one of those dads that probably should have never had kids. You know, it's just one of those. Just a very narcissistic individual, very egotistical. Just cares more about himself than anything else. More than anything.
Gotcha.
And and because of that, he hasn't really been a part of his daughter's life, really at all. Period. Most of her life, if at all. It was kind of the stepmom that kind of brought him in to be around her and kind of forced him to be around her, if you will. And then when that relationship ended, that stepmom and the real dad, there's basically been almost no communication.
So there's no more driving force.
Yeah, not at all. And that driving force, unfortunately, was only really around for about 2 to 3 years. Kind of forcing that relationship to stay whole and happen, force those meetings, force those interactions. It's just when people are selfish individuals, that just care about themselves. It doesn't matter if it's children, it doesn't matter if it's a family member, it doesn't really matter what it is.
And how is that seeing your daughter? I mean, you love this girl at this time. I mean, she's. I mean, you're raising her.
Yep.
And how does that make you feel seeing her go through that?
Yeah, it sucked. To me, it's just disappointing as human beings and as a man, right? It's like how people can be like that, and how people can act like that.
Sure.
It's like, especially when children are involved. So my biggest thing was just focusing on him, is to say how can another man be like that and not be there for children?
Of course.
It's absolutely insane to me. And her, feeling bad for her too. But that was my spot to step up.
Sure.
That's Dad's not going to be there. I knew Dad wasn't ever going to be a real part of her life. I always held out hope that he was going to correct himself and become a little bit better. Kind of had a few instances where he thought that was going to happen and just never came to fruition. And so I knew this is why I'm put in this spot.
Right. Everything happens for a reason.
Well, and I wasn't very spiritual at that time. I'm a very spiritual person now, and I know that God does things for reasons, and I know that he brought her into my life for a reason, and he brought me into her life for a reason. And then obviously our wife too just brought us all together for a reason. And I know it was there for me to be that example for her growing up, giving her that fatherly example. And she was probably something that I really needed, to be honest with you, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Who knows where I'd be, what I'd be doing? I have no idea where I'd be right now if that little girl didn't come into my life, man. So it's, I was sad that her dad wasn't going to be a part of her life. But I knew that I had a role to fill, and if I stepped up and did it better than he ever could do it, then, hey.
I love that.
Then maybe it happened for a reason, right?
Absolutely. No, I mean, children are a blessing. How they come into your life is irrelevant. It's what you do when they come into your life, whether it's by birth or by the same situation you had. Life is all about choices. It's so funny because going back to when you didn't have children, you made that decision. He didn't.
Yep. Oh yeah.
And look how the tides turn.
How it fixed out.
And now you got the blessing.
Yep, 100%.
I love that.
Yeah, and that is really the sad part, man. You think about that. I haven't really focused on that part of it too much. It's like all that he missed out on. It's like all those blessings that he missed out on, man. There's not a day that goes by.
Milestones.
Facebook memories pop up, right? And it's 7 years of living life with my daughter and going through all these, raising her, into where she is now, and she's such an amazing human being, man. To see where she came from to where she is now and where she's going to be, man. It's like we did such a good job with this young girl, man. She's absolutely just fantastic. And to know that he missed out on all that, it's like, but then again, who knows? If he was part of her life, maybe she wouldn't have been such a fantastic person,
right?
Maybe that's the reason that I came in, was to be that example.
Exactly.
And who she is now.
For sure.
It's like you never know.
You don't know.
So I take huge pride in that, man, and knowing me and my wife both take huge pride in knowing what we helped develop, man.
So I take my hat off to you, and I take my hat off to any man out there that steps up and plays that role of being the bonus dad to their children. It's a special role, and one that should not be taken for granted, and one should not be taken lightly. My little brother, he's 10 years younger than me, and his dad to this day is a crackhead, and my brother knows who he is. He knows who his real dad is. He calls Dave Dad. That's who raised him since he's 5 years old. He knows both. He made the decision at an early age that I'm not focusing on this man who doesn't care about me. I'm going to be in my world, and I'm going to live my life the way I need to live. And now he's 36. He got out of the Coast Guard. He became a plumber in the trade, the union. And now he is a master plumber and owns his own business.
Nice, man.
And know that the direction that he got from my stepdad
Yep.
played a huge part of that.
Oh, yeah.
My stepdad is one of the most hardest working men I know.
Yep.
I mean, he is the true definition of a hardworking American.
Yep.
He goes to work 9 to 5. He's a glazer, heavy glass. To this day, he still busts his butt and does for his family.
Yep.
And my brother saw that,
Yep.
and he gained that work ethic, not from the one that was his dad,
Yep.
who he knew what he was doing,
Yep.
but from the one he wanted to focus on his attention. I know your daughter did the same
An
thing.
example's an example, right? Man, it doesn't really mean if it's your real dad or your stepdad, or it could be anybody, man. An example's an example.
Right.
You look up to somebody, right? You got there's your example. You can be like that example, or you can be something different. man.
100%.
And I think, yeah, you're right. Your stepdad, or it was your real dad, right? Your
Right.
real dad, stepdad to your brother, but. And it was that he needed that example, man. He needed to have that positive example, and he chose to follow after him, man. So luckily, that's what my daughter did with me as well.
Absolutely.
She kind of followed a lot after me. She became an athlete. She started doing a lot of sports in her life.
Okay.
Really got good in school and studying and just being a good person as well. So I think she really did kind of pay attention to what I was growing up for her, and that example that I was for her. So yeah, I mean they
do. I talked about this in another episode. We teach our kids more than we realize without even teaching,
yeah.
without even speaking.
Yep.
They're watching what we do.
Yep.
It's our job to make sure that we're setting the example for them at all times, because we never know when they're watching.
Yep.
We may not think that we're doing things, and then next thing you know, they're picking up, and then you want them to pick up the good habits, not the bad ones.
All of them, yep. Absolutely. Yeah, 100% you want to pick up the good habits. And you see them doing the bad habits, like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
And try to deny it, right?
It's that the old commercial, from you, okay? I learned about watching you.
Yeah, the old Dare commercials back in the day. Yep, I remember those things too, man.
How old was your daughter, do you think? How do you think she was when she started realizing where her attention needed to be when it comes to, like, dad?
Right, like bad example, good example
Right.
type of thing. Yeah, it didn't take long, to be honest with you, man. She probably, it was kind of crazy. There was a legal situation that happened with her dad.
Okay.
That kind of brought everything to a boiling point, if you
Okay.
will. And I think that was probably the moment I would say, if it hadn't already happened before then.
And she was how old, do you think, roughly?
It couldn't have been any more than 7 or 8, I don't think. I'd have to ask the wife, to be honest
Sure.
with you, man. It's hard to remember, but that was kind of the culminating point of it all. But some things had already kind of started going to that, like kind of building up to that point. He had started kind of checking out, and then some things that started happening in his personal life that he was kind of going down a bad path. And so, visits were becoming less and less and things like that. So, and then that legal problem happened and just kind of came to a boiling point. And we just, we did the right thing as parents, man. We didn't do the bashing piece.
Right.
It was like, hey, he's evil person, bad person. We did it the other way around, man. Where it's like, hey, it's your father. Maybe he'll come around. Maybe he'll improve his life. Let's keep holding out hope. Like, let's see where this goes.
I love that.
Yeah, we were never trying to bash the guy or make him out to be the bad guy.
It's not gonna do anything for you.
We wanted her to form her own opinions
Sure.
and understand. See these experiences, experience these experiences, be around that family, be around our family. Understand what good is, understand what bad is, and hopefully she makes the right decisions and understands that, right?
Right.
And she did. I think her getting the chance to be at our home and seeing what we were all about and the love and everything that was going on in that house, and then being away from that back in her other situation and just that environment there, I think she's a very smart girl.
Sure.
Like just like you said, they pay attention, right?
They do.
To the words, to the things, to the non-words, to
Everything.
everything. And I think she, on her own accord, was putting the pieces together, the jigsaw pieces together. Like,
Right.
okay, yeah, this is where I truly belong.
Yeah.
This is what's right, what's not right.
Sure.
And yeah, I think she came to that conclusion herself. To be honest with you, pretty early on.
And did you ever, when you started dating your wife, when you started dating her, did you ever reach back out to mom and dad to say, hey, this is what's going on with me now?
No, I mean, never reached
I was
out
just
to him.
curious.
No, never reached out to him. It just,
I mean, you're in your 30s. I was just curious.
yeah, no, it just eventually happened.
Yeah.
As me and the wife started getting more serious. I think we took the very first trip home back to Utah to visit family and things like that. And obviously, mom and learned that she has a kid and stuff
Sure.
like that. Oh, and the jokes start to fly. Oh, now you're dating a person with a kid. Da 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 da. So, and then it just happened naturally, man. And so, made my mom happier than anything, man. Because my mom is a huge grandma lady, man, and she was always very upset with me that I never wanted to have any kids.
I know
Always
she
used to
was.
tell me you're going to change your mind or you're going to.
Yep.
It was like, nope, I'm not.
I know those
And
stories.
she finally accepted it at some point in time in my 20s, I think. But so she was ecstatic when me and my wife got together, and then we became a family, and now I've got a daughter of my own, and so it's her granddaughter, man.
Yeah,
it's her granddaughter
that's
through
beautiful.
and through. Man, she gets all the gifts, she gets all the stuff.
I love it.
Yeah, so it made my mom very, very happy, man, very happy.
Yeah, it made my father-in-law and mother-in-law very, very happy too, because my wife doesn't have any children. And so when we got married, oh man, it was so emotional, man. My father-in-law gave up the speech, man. He's such a amazing man. I mean, he's a retired veteran, and just beautiful speech. He come up and talked about how these are his grandchildren now, and everybody. It wasn't a dry eye. Or sorry.
Yep.
It was just beautiful, man. Just to see the smile on his face, and these aren't even his grandchildren by blood, but you could not tell him that he's not a granddad.
Love is love, bro.
He loves it. I mean, it gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, love is love, bro. Don't matter. Don't matter if they're your kids or not, man. We all belong to the same spark, brother. So love is love, dude. Whether they're your real children or you're not your real children.
Yep.
I would do anything in the world for that girl, man. I would feel sorry for anybody that wanted to hurt that girl, man, because she's my little precious baby, and she's absolutely amazing. I would do anything in the world to protect that girl, man.
I love that.
It's amazing what happens. When you spend time around people, and that bond that develops and grows, and what it becomes. So it's amazing. It's just amazing that to be where I am now compared to what I thought my life was going to be like, and what I thought it was going to be this part of my life. Who knows? Probably I never even planned on getting married again. I got married early on, in my early 20s. I had an early military.
You did?
I had an early military marriage.
Oh wow, okay.
It lasted like 2 or 3 years. And I used to say that afterwards. I was like, I'm never
getting married again.
Never married again. And me and the wife we're common law married, which in the state of Texas is pretty much legit.
Sure.
And we're gonna do the real thing at some point in time as well. But
I want an invitation, man.
Yeah, you'll get one, man. You'll be getting one, man. So yeah, it's just awesome to live life, man, and just see what ends up happening, man. Because I thought I had all these plans for me in the past, and here I am at 46 years old now, and I'm married again, and I got a beautiful daughter, and who knows? I never thought I'd be here, man.
Yeah,
not the life that I thought I'd be living.
No, the same thing too. Especially after I got divorced, I had this idea I was going to be the single dad. And I never introduced my children to a girl I was dating. Just wouldn't do it. I just felt that I was not going to have them see a woman unless I knew that woman was going to be someone permanent in my life and in theirs.
That's how my wife looked at it too.
Yeah, and so I love that, and it just shows what a great mom she is. Yeah. And I just wasn't gonna do it. And so, and at the same time, I'm like, okay, well then this has forced me to never be serious because I'm never gonna have that opportunity. One lady I was dating, and she asked to meet the children, and was adamant about it, and I'm like, no, I'm good, and that actually caused us to break up. I was like, okay, I'm done. I met my wife now through Facebook dating. I said on the last app, I have no shame to it. I met her online, and we didn't even meet through the dating portion. We met through the buddies portion because we were interested in hiking together. So that's our first date was hiking, and we had talked probably about 2 months back and forth on text messaging and on the phone before we even met. And I was already wanting to introduce her to my children. I knew just who she was as a person, the connection that we had, the person that she was, and the conversation that we had. She was just a truly genuine person. And I was ready. I was like, I'm gonna marry this woman. In my head, I was saying it, but just not out loud.
Right.
But our first date, I know, right? Our first date, I actually told her I loved her at the end of the night.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was like, I told her, well, because I'm like, I'm old, man. I'm like, I felt at the time, I'm 46. I was like, you know what? And, it was fun. I got it from this Yellowstone prequel show. It was 18. I don't remember one of the ones. He was talking to the woman, and he told her. She asked him, "Are you going to marry me?" He goes, "I demand it." And I was like, "That I love it. When you find it, you got to hold on to it." And I knew she was the one, and here we are. We're married today.
How long did it take y'all to get married?
We met January 2024. We got married December 2024.
Okay, so almost
we were living together probably about 3 months before that.
Nice.
I called her father, who's a Catholic, and told him we'd already met, and I just had the conversation about us moving in together. And he told me, man, with today's economy, I don't blame you. And that was all.
A different response.
I did.
Right?
I wasn't expecting a different response. I just didn't know what to expect.
Right.
And when he told me that, I was like, okay. So that we moved in together. I started a new job August of 2024. Well, I added it to my insurance.
Yep.
And I didn't think that they were going to actually require a marriage certificate.
Right.
In December, I got an email from my insurance, and they said, well, we need that marriage certificate. I got an email from my insurance in December saying that we need that marriage certificate or we're going to drop her from your insurance. I'm like, oh, crap. So I told her, and she was like, let's get married.
Yep.
And so I called the courthouse, San Antonio courthouse. I looked up, there's a couple different ways you can get married in Texas. Common law marriage, you can do some type of written paper, but Texas doesn't offer it. So there's two ways you can get married: temporary or a permanent resident, or something like that. One of the ways you have to wait 3 days. Right. One of the ways you can get married right away, but it's not accepted in all 50 states. So I called Cigna to make sure that one was actually accepted, and so they accepted it. We went down to the courthouse, raised our hand. We had a marriage certificate that we were husband and wife.
Nice.
We had a formal ceremony June 14th the following year.
Yes.
But yeah, it wasn't, I mean, that year,
That's
we come from the same town, so there's a lot of similarities. We grew up in the same town, but we met in San Antonio.
nice, man. What town is that?
Pasadena.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
Texas?
Right outside of Houston,
Okay,
yeah.
Yep. I know where it's at.
Yeah, so that's so crazy that like we met the way we did, and that she was so accepting. And I said all that to say that with all her like not being a mother, not being an only child, for her to implement herself as a mother to the children, you would have not known that was her background.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you probably could say the same thing about me too, man. It's like never wanting to have kids, never really liking to be around kids, all that
Right.
good stuff. But then, bam, here I am now in this position, and you got to be that example. You got to be that person for them, right? And so you can either step up and do the right thing and be that example for them, or you can choose to be a piece of crap, right? And kind of go the opposite direction. So. For me, it's just about responsibility, man. It's about doing the right thing, being there for those people, and especially when little children are involved. You got to be that example. You got to be there for them. You got to be that guiding light for them to show them how to live life and how to become a proper, good human being. And that was the role that I felt like I had to step into, especially given the current circumstances that she was dealing with from a real father. Like, that was a big piece of it too, man. It was like, hey, I know what she's seen on that other front. And you see what happens to kids, especially little girls, when they come from broken homes and daddy's not around and things like that. It can end up pretty bad a lot of times.
It can even get bad when they're coming from a home where there's turmoil and toxicity.
100%, yeah.
Because I've seen it with my daughter. She would act out, and she would do certain things that I didn't realize that it was the byproduct of the household at the time. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that at the time because I was so naive and arrogant and like, oh, whatever. And looking back on it, I know it was because of it, because you see the dynamic of the household now. We've all been through therapy, different stages over the past few years, and it's helped us tremendously. It's opened up a new light for us to be able to communicate effectively with each other, and we don't have the rifts of turmoil anymore. It's like if there's a problem, we talk about it. We address it. We speak about it. We figure it out. We get over it and move on.
Yeah, we actually put our daughter through about a year or so of that as well. During her teenage years. So
okay, I was going to ask.
Obviously, transitions from that young youth stage to the teenage years. A lot of emotions are kind of coming into play. Why does dad not want to be a part of my life?
Right.
Why is dad the way that he is? That kind of stuff. So those feelings started to come, and it wasn't at no drastic code red level or anything like that, but
enough.
We started seeing enough that we're like, okay, and then we just had some, we were always great about having open conversations with her, just being honest adults, talking to her like an adult, letting her have her opinion, things like that. And so we were always had an open dialogue at all times. And so when we started to feel that vibe or feel that, things where she was starting to get a little emotional about some things, we just talked with her. Hey, she had a friend, I think, that went through some therapy.
Okay.
And apparently the friend talked about how it helped her. And so I think she brought it to us one point.
Oh, wow.
And so, we jumped on that. We're like, hey, if you think this is going to help you, let's go ahead and do this. And so I want to say that she went through about a year, maybe not quite a year if I remember right. But it really helped her. Like I think we talked about it not too long ago, and she even said how much she really liked the therapist and how much she liked the open open communication, and it really did help her get through those moments.
Wow.
And obviously you got the mom and you got and me doing our part.
Sure.
But sometimes you need that outside voice.
You need it.
Especially that professional voice.
100%. And then one that's not biased.
Yeah, 100%.
No
One
judgment.
that's not biased, one that can kind of guide the conversations and kind of, lead those conversations to get to those deep moments. And, I don't know anything about this therapist because obviously wasn't in those
Sure.
rooms, but she hit a note with my daughter, and it helped her get through some rough times. And, I'm glad that we made that decision because, she's better for it.
Yeah, man, I think that's so important, the therapy aspect of it. And how I introduced my child to therapy was through counseling. I saw what was going on at home. And when I realized, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with it, because I never really shared this out loud. Close people in my family know about this. We were in the doctor's office, my ex-wife and I. We were going over the ADHD results for our daughter to whether or not she was going to meet the criteria to be on medication and treatment for ADHD. Back and forth. Long story short, this doctor's appointment was supposed to be her mother and I discussing the forms, what the teacher said, all come up with a plan to treat our daughter. It turned into this argument of back and forth, yelling at each other in the doctor's office.
You and the wife?
Me and the wife and our son, Ryder.
Oh, wow.
He's sitting there. He's probably 3 or 4 at the time. And it was what the doctor said that really made me realize what we were doing to the children. Because she said, stop. Do you guys not see what's going on right now? And we're like, yeah, we're yelling at each other. We shouldn't be. I'm sorry.
Right.
She goes, your son he's not even affected by this. That means he's normalized your behavior.
Used to it,
He is used to this. I can imagine what it's like at home. She took our son out to the nurse so we could finish the appointment.
Oh, wow.
It opened my eyes up right then and there.
Sometimes those moments, right?
I changed who I was in that moment to where I'm not going to be. Obviously, it didn't happen overnight.
Right.
I'm still not. I wasn't
Process,
perfect,
man.
but I knew the foundation of where I
That
needed
switch
to be.
flipped.
Yeah,
The switch flipped.
I said, no longer am I going to allow that to be a thing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He was just sitting there
Yep.
and was not crying, wasn't screaming. He's like, oh, mom and dad do this all the time.
This is normal.
This is normal.
It's like the TV being on. Yep. Yeah, it hurts you, right? Cuts hits you, man. It
hurt me. Like I said, I've never said that out loud.
Yeah, dude.
So, I mean, if you have a home where you're doing that, you got to stop and realize that they're watching you every step of the way. Pause. Wait till your children are asleep or they're not around. You want to have these discussions? Have them when they're not around. Because the time to do it is definitely not when they're watching you. Or even when you think they're watching you. Like, just stop. And
It's good that you recognize that, though, man.
It is.
Well, a lot of people, everybody kind of recognizes, right? So in that moment, everybody's going to recognize it because you're being told, right?
Right.
It's like, hey, what are you doing? So you recognize
Exactly.
it. You decided to make the change. You decided to make a change right then and there. It's like,
Right.
hey, no longer am I going to do this. That's a good human being right there, man.
Yeah,
That's
I appreciate it.
that's realizing your weaknesses and say, hey, that's I'm putting a stop to this, and we're gonna change this right here and right now. And you just happen to be doing it for your kid, man.
Right.
So that's absolutely amazing, dude. So many people know that. I mean, think of how many other people have been put in that same exact room, those same exact moments,
Yep.
and then they go home and do the same stuff over and over
100%.
again, man. So you decided, no, enough's enough, and I'm not going to be that example for my kid.
Yep.
I've got a story like that too, man. One that's I'm very ashamed of, man. I was very ashamed of, but hey, I made a change from it, and it's never happened since, and I'm super proud of it now. But I've never been a big partier, never really been too big of a drinker or anything like that. But there was a time that we were at a buddy's house at a pool, me, my daughter, and my wife, and we actually had our dog there with us. And been drinking, having a good time that day, and it was time to go home, and family wasn't ready to go home. I was ready to go home, and it led to a lot of screaming and yelling at the wife.
How old is your daughter at the time?
She was probably like 13 or 14. Man.
Okay.
So she was in the teenage years. So she was old enough, but it led to a very, very loud verbal exchange back at the house. So much so that friends came and took the daughter and took the wife, and they went and stayed at a friend's house that night because it was a heated argument. But it was because I had some alcohol in my system at the time. that I reacted the way that I reacted. I still to this day felt like my reason for reacting, I had a reason for it, but still I should not have done what I did and taken it to that step, to that level.
To that level.
And especially in front of my daughter.
Right.
It terrified her. It absolutely terrified her. I'd never acted like that before. And in that moment, it wasn't in that moment, but it was the next day when I was able to convince them to come back home, and I sat them both down, and I had my moment where I said, hey, I messed up. I was like, I absolutely messed up in this moment. I'm taking full responsibility for what I did. And I looked my daughter in the face. I said, what you saw that night, I was like, you will never, ever see that again. I was like, you will never see me act like that again. And she has never seen me act like that again. And
you broke your, you didn't break your promise.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. It's like, and part of that's, because of my promise to her, but more so a promise to myself.
Sure.
It's like, hey, that is not how you should act as a human being. That's not how you should act as a man. That's not how you should act as a father. That's not how you should act as a husband. And again, I'll go back to like I think my reason for blowing up was a good reason for blowing up, but not to do it like I did it, and not to do it for my daughter like I did it, and not to do it to that level. And it's knowing to control yourself and to be in those moments, like you said, not to be around your child and create that environment around your child.
Right.
And so, I was very, very ashamed of myself, for how I acted. I'm usually a very calm, reserved, collected individual. And in that moment I was not. And so I made that promise to my daughter, and I never had that incident ever happen again. And I'm proud of that fact. I'm proud that I was able to, like you did, was to flip that switch and say, never again, it's not happening anymore. And
I love it.
And so that was my story there.
That's really cool, man. No, thank you for sharing that with me. I really appreciate that. I love, that's what this podcast is for. It's about being able to share these experiences, share the narratives of what went on behind the scenes of some of these moments, because they don't define who we are. These happen, you recognize them, you're able to grow and move forward. And I think that's what is important in life. You don't get caught up on certain things that have happened in the past. You cannot do anything about it. You can't change it, you can't fix it. All you can do is promise to never make that mistake
again.
Right?
Grow. I mean, that's what all of life is about, man. Life is about growth.
Yep.
It's about evolving, flourishing. It's like, picking the fruit. That's what life's about, man.
Yep.
Like, growing up into it, and I've always been real big on lifelong lessons, being a lifelong learner. And so it's man, and if you take that approach to life, if you really do, if you take everything as a lesson, man, like every single moment that you come across is a lesson, and you can choose to go a certain direction from that lesson. And then those directions you choose become the examples for your children, right? It's like, those directions, those paths that you decide to walk, as those children are sitting there watching you, that you're setting that example for them. You're showing them that roadmap. You
are.
And then they make the decision of, hey, they're going to follow you or they're going to go opposite. And hopefully you created a good roadmap, a good path for them, and they want to follow that path, man. And so I think that's where we're at right now with my daughter. She's getting ready to go to college next year. Yeah, man.
What is she studying?
She wants to be a sports psychologist.
Wow.
Man,
what is the reason behind that?
So she's an athlete, man. She's been an athlete in sports, since I've been involved with her. Even before I was involved with her, she was already into some sheer tumbling and things like that when we got involved. And then when I came into her life, we got her into track and field, and she eventually did some basketball for a little while. But her big thing's been cheerleading.
Okay.
And she's been a competitive cheerleader, man, ever since ninth grade. So she was the captain of her high school team, and then she was on 2 all-star teams.
Wow.
She has the University of Incarnate Word recruiting her right now to try to be a cheerleader. I think she's checked out of it now. I think she's kind of wrapped up, but the wife still wants her to do it. So
she's at that stage where she could go that path, or
she could, but I think she wants to take at least a break, if not be permanently done from it. She just wants to focus on school now. But so sports is a big piece of her life, and she's just got a super sharp head on her shoulder, man. She's a great leader, and if she chooses to stick it out and go down the sports psychology route, man, it's going to be a great path for her because she's got the right headset for it.
That's awesome. I mean, it's very interesting, choice to go through, but it goes back to what you said earlier. I think that time in therapy, right? Yeah. And then going through the traumas that she went through growing up, she wants to help people, it seems.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, she wants to help people. Like she's just she's a natural leader too, man. So like I said, she's captains of her teams when she's on it. In those moments in sports and stuff like that, when you need somebody to gather the people together, bring people together, keep the heads focused, keep the minds focused, eye on the prize type of thing. She's that person. So sports psychology is a very great route for her. Like I said, if she decides to stick it out and go that route, I think it's going to be amazing for her.
Wow, that's such an interesting career choice. I mean, a college choice to choose. To me, it would seem like one of those things where like you would choose if you yourself were injured and now you want to help other people.
Right.
It's not like something that, okay, I'm going to be a sports psychologist like right off the bat.
Yeah, and we'll see if she rides it out, man. Obviously, you know how people are when they first get into college. Their majors can change 1,000 times, man.
100%.
So, but just knowing her and her personality and her brain, I think it's a perfect choice for her if she decides to ride it out, man. So, and I really think she can help some people in that aspect, because her mind's so sharp and she's so level headed that and so calm that I think that's a perfect career for her, and she's going to really help out a lot of athletes if she decides to stick with it.
Yeah, man, because, I mean, you could help in so many ways. There could be an athlete who is not performing the way they used to and just have this mental block and need to go see someone and need that, that nurturing spirit to come in and unlock that, right? And your daughter seems like she's went through some stuff to maybe help someone get to that level.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it was all my years in sports and stuff as well, but I'm always, like I said, very, very calm-minded, very, very level-headed individual, if you will. So I think I've kind of helped her out in her own sports coming up in life. Her sporting, her athletics, even her schooling, things like that. I think she saw me a lot and saw the way my mind space was and where my mind was at and how I approach things. And I think she kind of, again, back to examples, right? They see how you act, they see how you respond to things. And I think she was able to take how I react and react to things and how calm I am in certain situations, especially when you involve sports and things like that. That I think she just watched me. I think she just watched me, and it kind of carried over to her, and it carried over to her approach to things and her approach to sports, her approach to athletics, her approach to life and school, all of it, man. And so I just think it helped her keep a really level head. But again, it goes back to being that example. You know, if I was just wound up tight and a basket case and just on edge all the time at the house and flying off the handle when it comes time to respond to things and things like that, then that would have been that example that I set for her, right? And who knows if she might not have gone down a sports psychology route, because who knows where her head would be right now, So I think that's part of the reason why. But again, I hope she rides it out, man. I hope she does.
And not only that, not only were you setting the example, but you were choosing to be present, right? I mean, because you could have been you could have had that same mindset when you got into a relationship, carried on to a relationship, and was like not really interested in a child, but could have, maybe persuaded the mom enough to be like, okay, well, I'm here, but I'm not really here. I'm checked in, but I'm checked out. I've seen that a lot. You got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, where they act a certain way around the other parent, but when they're around, they're not really interested, or just like, oh, I can't wait to be around this kid. Like, what was I thinking? You chose to be that parent through and through from the beginning, and you obviously taught her enough to where she realized that, hey, this guy loves me. I'm gonna be his daughter. At what point was there ever a point where she called you dad, or?
Yeah, so we, not really. So it's kind of a weird situation.
I was curious.
So going back to the first moving in phase,
right?
We kind of missed that really strong bonding moment phase because of her dad still being the dynamic. Her dad still being in their life at that time frame, and I really think it's those years where you really create those strong father-daughter bonds. And so we missed a little bit of that because of that, because of the dad still being in her life. The awkwardness when we first moved in together with dad still being a part of her life. So for the longest time, so even to this day, it's Vern. She calls me Vern. She calls me by my name. But we don't use the term stepdad. Like we don't use that. So we use the term, like she refers to me as dad.
Okay.
I want to say it was around, I don't know, early teenage years that she asked me to stop saying stepdad. She's like, I don't want to use the word stepdad anymore. She's like, when I refer to you, I call you my dad. And so I stopped using the term stepdaughter. She's my daughter.
I love it.
And so she doesn't particularly call me dad, but it's because we missed that particular bonding period. So it was always Vern at that point in time. And so we still carry that over. And I'm perfectly fine with that. It's perfectly fine. She still calls me dad when she refers to me to people. I still call her my daughter when I refer to her to people. We still have our we know how strong our bond is with each other, how strong our love is with each other. So, but we did miss that super bonding moment. That is something that I really do wish I would have been involved with. And we still had some of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't exist.
Right.
It's just that those super, super tight, super, super close moments I didn't get a chance to really experience because of the situation. And so if I had a chance to do anything over again, it's like wish some of that was more involved.
Sure.
But then again, who knows? Who knows what that would have done, how that would have changed things.
Exactly.
You know? So
And not
maybe
only,
I needed to play that stepdad
Right.
role, the Vern role. You know?
and not only that, but who knows if she would have been willing to accept it?
Oh, 100%,
because you could have been given it, and,
Yeah.
and then it just not be received, and then it's like, then who knows? At that point, you would have said, "Well, I'm giving my all to this child. This daughter doesn't want me. What am I doing in this relationship?" And could have walked away.
It could have a lot of different.
So
things
it's
could
so
happen,
many
right?
different things
So
could
many
happen.
things could happen. Again, going back to what everything happens for a reason, right?
100%. All right, folks, let's take a quick break. If you're feeling tired or not quite yourself, Gameday Men's Health is here to help. With their veteran-owned specialized services in testosterone and peptides, you can boost your energy and vitality. Let's hear more about how they can make a real difference in your life.
My name is Marcelo Rivera. I've been coming to Gameday, I would say, probably about 2.5, going on 3 months now. When I got here, I was in a pretty bad place. Really, really lethargic, not a lot of energy, almost no motivation. And so luckily, I came across Gameday and I was able to see that they had services that were gonna benefit me, not just immediately, but in the long run. And since then, I feel like I can get through some of the personal obstacles that I have now, a lot more motivated. So it's only been 2.5 months, but I feel really, really good about the direction I'm going and the impact that it's having on me. I come weekly and I do what I need to do. They take care of me and I get to reap the benefits.
So yeah, I think the relationship played out the way it played out for a reason. We had to play the roles that we had to play for her to grow up and become the person that she is, for me to grow up and become the person that I am, her dad to go the path down he went. You know, everything happens for a reason, everything's designed. And I think we all played our roles perfectly to get to where we are now, man. So that would probably be the only thing that I wish I could change is have a little bit of that back in the life. But outside of that, man, it's amazing to see where we are now and what she's become, man. So
No, and I say the same thing too. I've gone through those moments myself when I was like, you analyze things and you're like, man, what could I have done? Could I have done something differently? I don't dwell on it, but there are moments, like you said, you like, you know, if I could have had that, and there's been times when I, you know, said, oh, if I would have changed something differently at the beginning, or if I would have got help faster, if I would have, but everything happens the way it happens, and in the process the way it needs to happen, and we grow at our own pace, can't be forced, which is what I did at the beginning. I will be the first to admit that I was very selfish when we were separating, the first divorce and the second time we separated, because we got together a year and a half after we got divorced, and had our son, and then we separated eventually. We never got remarried. I moved in, but eventually we separated and walked away from each other for good. And there's so many things at that time, like, oh, what was I thinking? I could have done this. And even when I first met my wife, you know, and I think the process that they went through is at the perfect pace, because now looking at them now, I wouldn't change anything about who they are now. And who knows if you would have changed one little thing, the ripple effect of what that would have been.
Man. Cause and effect, man. Everything. We change one little thing, and who knows what the end result's going to be, man. So again, I mean, I keep saying it. Everything happens for a reason, man. It's like divine intervention. We're on our paths. This was the path that I was meant to be on. It's the path that she was meant to be on. Her father was meant to be on. And it's, in my opinion, it came to a glorious, well, I mean, obviously not over yet, but you know, she just graduated high school on her way to college. So we've hit a huge milestone.
That is a huge milestone.
And to know all that we've done and what we've done to get to where we are now, man, I wouldn't change it for the world, man. It's been a blessing. It's been glorious. And I just look forward to what the next steps are, man. It's like, can't wait for her to get ready to start college here in about a month and kind of take that next level and that next step and be there to support her and all that stuff, man. So we're excited for it.
No, and you should be. I mean, she sounds like she's got a good head on her shoulders.
Man.
I mean, to get to where you're at, to get to where she's at and make the decision that she wants to help people in that capacity, I mean, she's got to be doing things right. And she's obviously learned from some great parents.
Yeah, the thing we're number one proud of, man, most proud of, is just she's an amazing human being. And you know, that was my biggest goal for her growing up. And I used to tell this to her all the time. I was like, Madison is like, if you ever want me to dislike you, or if you want to find a way for me to dislike you, find a way for me to hate you, find a way for me just not to want to be around you, I was like, be an ugly human being. I was like, that's the only way you can make that happen. I was like, my goal for you is to make you be a beautiful human being that treats others great and treats others amazing. And that's what we have. We have a girl that just, man, she'll do anything for anybody. Super, super pure heart, pure soul, just exudes love. And so we did a good job, man. And that was goal number one. Didn't want to raise an athlete, didn't want somebody to go to college. I mean, those are all side goals.
Sure.
Right? Those are all little goals. But goal number one was raise a good human being.
No, I love that.
And that's what we did, man. We raised a good human being. And even I mean, there's some examples going on right now, man. Where she had a situation here just recently with her boyfriend, and she had to make a decision. She had some bad influences in her life from on her friend's side of the house, and she had to make some decisions. Cut away. She had an amazing relationship going on, and she's like, hey, stick with what's good, or I need to cut away some of the cancer that's around me right now.
This dead weight.
Dead weight, exactly. And it was some friends that she'd had for a while, man. And me and my wife are insanely proud of the decision she made. She cut off some of these friends that were very bad influences, that were giving her some very bad advice, and made the decision to go with the boyfriend and keep that going. And she's grown from it, man. She's grown from it, and I think she cut off a cancer out of her life. And now she's kind of being presented with another moment like that with another friend right now too. And we just talked about it today. Actually, it's kind of funny where we're bringing this up. We're talking about today another bad example situation coming on where she's like, hey, so and so said this and was doing this, and I was like, is that the kind of friends you really want to be around?
Right.
And she's like, I don't know, I don't think so. She's like, I think I need to have a talk with her. I was like, I think you do too. So just knowing that I've got a daughter that recognizes that stuff and wants to be around good influences, wants to be around positive influences, wants to be around love and all those things. So it's nice to know that we did a good job. We've got the daughter that does those things, that wants to be around those things, that wants to be that person. And that's the best thing, the biggest thing that we're proud of. More than
You have to be, because I say the same thing. I met my daughter's friends. I met my daughter's friends at a movie showing. They wanted to go to the movies. It was a rated R movie. It was called Backrooms. I read enough about the movie to know that it was some cussing. It wasn't anything.
Yeah.
I've seen worse things at 14. I've seen worse things when I was 12. But I did my research. I couldn't find one parent that was going through these conversations of going back and forth, and people kept on saying, oh, well, I think my parent might be there. Turned out no parent was there. So I was like, well, I'll be there, but I'm not going to sit with you guys. I'll sit in the front. I wanted to watch the movie. It looked interesting. And afterwards, I met all of her friends, and they were just so nice. So you could tell they were genuine. You could tell they had their little quirkiness, but at the end of the day, you could tell that she wanted to be around people that she appreciated her.
Right.
She was bullied from, probably like second or third grade, here and there, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade. It was really, really bad in sixth grade. Really, really bad in seventh grade. And so she had made the decision that she's not going to be around people that are not going to make her feel good. And I was not that kid. At her age, I was bullied as well. I was all about acceptance. I wanted people to accept me.
Right.
I was made fun of because of my big eyes and this and that. And it was just like, I just didn't really listen to those things that were being said. And even if they were saying them, I kind of ignored them because I wanted to be around the people.
Right.
And my daughter's completely opposite of that. And I know that she made a good decision, like being around these people. And I know your daughter is the same way.
She loves herself, man.
She does.
It's really what it boils down to. It boils down to whether or not you love yourself or not. And when you love yourself, you can make those decisions. You can cut that dead weight. You can cut those people out of your lives that aren't that good vibe, man. It's really about accepting yourself and loving yourself, man. And you should be very proud of that, in my opinion. Your daughter knows herself. She loves herself, and she wants to be around similar people like that, man. So that's exactly what we did with our daughter too, man.
I never even heard it put that way. Like I did not love myself for a long time.
It's the mirror effect, brother. That's it's really what it is, man. It's when you learn to love yourself first, everything in your life changes. You exude love. Love comes to you a lot more naturally. The people that are around you, it becomes more natural, more positive environment. You attract more, you attract things more naturally, more positive things, more loving things. But it starts with loving yourself, man. You got to love yourself first. And I'll tell some stories there too, man. Like some things that you reminded me of the way I raised my daughter. I can remember her coming home in those real developmental time frames for a young girl, early childhood going into adulthood, right? Where those moments are happening, a lot of emotions going on, and a lot of times kids are looking for attention, they're looking for accreditation from their friends, acceptance from their friends, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but my daughter had spent some time putting something together or creating a project or doing something, and she was so sad that she didn't get, her friends didn't really show any, appreciation for it, didn't make it seem like a big deal.
Right.
And I remember having a conversation with her. I was like, and she was very upset about it. And I was like, I sat her down. I was like, Madison, I was like, how do you feel about what you did? I was like, you put a lot of work into that. You spent a lot of time doing that.
Right.
I was like, you and I have talked about this for days, and every time I talked to you, you were pretty excited about it. Had a smile on your face. I was like, now you're sitting here, sad because your friends don't like it. I was like, but how do you like it? How do you feel about it? She's like, I'm proud of myself. She's like, I did a lot of work on this. I was like, and what do you think about the end result? And she's like, I actually like it. And I was like, so then what does it matter what your friends think? I was like, what matters what you think.
I was like,
that. And all the stuff you put into it. And then another story, it kind of carried over from that aspect to when she started getting into social media and teenagers and social media.
Right.
I used to see her all the time paying attention to the number of likes, the number of loves, the number of mentions, and getting upset when that wasn't happening.
Oh, yeah.
When those numbers,
that's a real thing.
When those numbers weren't adding up. And so that was another checkpoint moment. Madison, why does it matter? It's like these pictures that you're hoping for attention for. I was like, how do you feel about it? Do you like the way that you look at it? Do you like the scene, or do you guys like what you did in this picture? All those things. Are you happy about it? What do you see when you see it? And I was like, it doesn't matter. You don't need likes. You don't need accreditation. You don't need all that acceptance from other people.
Right.
What you need to do is accept yourself. I was like, you need to accept yourself. You need to love yourself. I was like, and when you do, all that other stuff doesn't matter. I was like, if you get it, great. Like it's awesome. It's extra benefit. It's icing on the cake.
Exactly.
Your friends are liking your post, loving your post. They're as ecstatic about it because you are. I was like, but what really matters is whether or not you love it first. I was like, and if you love it first, nothing else matters. I was like, nothing else matters. You'll always be content. You'll always be happy. And I think she really caught on to that. It took some time. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I was like, obviously she was the teenager
Yeah.
in one ear, out the other is
Of
what
course.
it seemed like. But she was really listening. She was listening.
Yeah.
And now it's non-existent now, man. Like she makes her posts. She doesn't give a damn.
Sure.
Likes, loves, mentions, doesn't care. It's about her. And so she does things for herself now, and she's proud of herself for what she accomplishes. And she loves herself. And so that's really what it's about. It's about loving yourself. So
It is, and I talked about that a couple of episodes, and Alvin Perry talked about the last episode. You always got to take care of yourself first, and so it goes back to that. And I now, man, you put me on this rabbit hole of like.
Your own thought, dissecting yourself now?
Dissecting myself of like, damn, I didn't care about myself at all. I really didn't. I just wanted to be liked.
Yeah, well, it's funny because
that was before social media.
We're going down a little rabbit hole. I got to tell this story too,
Yeah.
because I just had this conversation with a patient of mine in here not too long ago, similar about this. And actually, I say a patient of mine. It's one of my really good friends who's also a patient of mine.
Okay.
Going through a rough time with a divorce right now with his kids and his wife and stuff. And so we've had a lot of conversations recently. And he was just asking me about myself and how I'm so level-headed and calm and just always positive and optimistic. And he's like, how'd you get this way? Like,
Sure.
I was like, man, you know what it was? And I think I've already told you about how I had no problem living in exclusion, right?
Right.
Going off, doing my own thing, being in my own little bubble. And I used to love that, man, because everybody's got that voice in your head, right? And what I told this to my friend, my patient/friend, is that, it's like I was somebody that when I listened to that voice was in my head, and I looked at it as a good voice, and I tried to do right by it.
Sure.
And I tried, when it tried to correct me, I listened. When I did things wrong, and I knew inherently that I was doing them wrong, I listened to that voice.
Right.
I always listened to that voice as my checkpoint. It's like, hey, be a better person.
Right.
Do things right. Don't do things wrong. I think everybody has those moments.
They
Everybody
do.
has those moments, and it's the people that choose to listen to that voice and make those corrections in their lives, makes those changes in their lives, that build on those things and become great human beings.
Right.
It's the ones that go and run from that voice, that hide from that voice, that try not to listen to it, that try to drown it out by all these distractions, whether it's TV, sex, drugs, alcohol, there's something out there, anything they can just to take their mind off that voice. They don't have to hear it. I got a buddy of mine that just refuses to be by himself. Like, he just cannot be by himself. He's got to, if he's at home, the TV's got to be turned on loud, radio's got to be blasting. He's got to be around individuals all the time because he hates that voice in his head.
Wow.
And he does not want to address it.
Yep.
And so it's about addressing that voice, man.
It's
about addressing that voice and learning to become a better person and correct yourself, man. And so that's other things that I tried to pass off to the daughter, man. Try to pass that off to the daughter too, and that's part of loving yourself, and that's that voice that's inside your head. It's like, hey, being proud of it and accepting it and saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to listen to this voice.
Yeah, you have to listen to it because it takes that step in order for you to be able to grow. In 2021, when I was through the situation that I went through with the separation officially, completely, I was in a dark place, and it took the path that I went on in order for me to be where I am. But it was the accountability I had, that I needed to be the one is going to make these changes. I need to be the one, and I was by myself. I was almost like your buddy, where I didn't always have to have the TV, but I didn't want to be alone. I never wanted to be not in a relationship. So I would be in a relationship just to be in one, because I didn't want to be single. I didn't want to be not loved, because I just, like, it's going back to my high school.
You probably didn't like your own thoughts.
I didn't like my own thoughts, and then so it was during that time, the 3.5 years, where all I did was work. When I didn't have my kids, I would work from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. I would do Uber, I would do Lyft, I would do DoorDash, I would do Amazon. You named it. I was busy. And when I got with my wife now, I don't know what she saw in me at that time, honestly, because I was a good person, but there was still something about me that I hadn't fixed yet. I wanted to start this podcast during the time I met her. I'd already had the Dad's Side logo written down on a yellow piece of paper. I already had that I wanted to do it, but there was something that was stopping me, and it was myself. I didn't realize it. I had not grown internally. And so my wife saved my life. I really, really, truly believe that she saved the path. I want to say that she actually helped pave the path for where we are now. She was going through her own traumatic past. I was going through mine, and we were able to help each other out so much. And I bought this book called The 4 Agreements, and I bought it for her. I haven't told her this yet. I bought it for her because of what she went through, and I heard it on this Facebook group that this particular event could help. This book could help someone going through this particular event. So I got it for her. But instead of just saying, I got this book for you, I didn't want to do that. So I bought us both a copy. I said, let's read this book together.
There you go. That's
and we'll read it separately, and we'll talk about it. Man, when I read that book, Vern, it literally changed my life. 2 of them I live by to this day. Don't take things personally, and don't get offended. And man, I just...
So you bought it for her, and it'd be a lesson for yourself.
One of the most powerful lessons I've ever read in a book that was $9 and was about this thick.
It's amazing.
And once I started living that as a personal, goal of mine to do every single step of the way, don't take things personally. Don't get offended by something you can't control. And I'd always say that, about, don't get upset over things you can't control, but it just hadn't unlocked that level of don't take things personally. Because I would not get upset because I couldn't control it, but it would still bother me. I would still be offended if that person didn't respond the way I wanted them to, or even respond to me at all. Assumptions were going through my mind. Oh, they must think I'm this. They don't want to talk to me because they think that my idea sucks, and they don't want to be around me. This person doesn't like me, and you start running these things.
Cascades, right?
It's like, for what? And it's like, oh, I didn't have my phone. My phone died, or I dropped it in the toilet. None of those things happened, and it talks about that in the book. Oh wow! It unlocks it on a different level, and I was able to understand it for what it really was, and it taught me something. That's awesome. And I live it to this day.
That's great, and let's just connect the dots, right? Divine intervention, things happen for a reason. You got that book for your wife, thinking you're going to help her out. What it probably helped you out more than it helped her out.
It did.
Now you go back and you remember this, right? That was a life-changing moment for yourself. It's nuts, dude.
It's because she'll go through some things. whether it be, dealing with a cousin or a friend or something that she takes personally, and I tell her, hey, don't take it so personally. You're right.
Yeah.
And her dad is a really was always and to this day is a very good role model for her. And one of the things he said to her, and he says it on the podcast, hello negative, goodbye negative. And as soon as I tell her that, it reminds her of the conversation with her dad. She's like, you're right. Goodbye, negative. Why the hell did I let this thing bother me so
We
much?
got to transmute darkness, brother. That's what it is.
What is that?
Transmute darkness. I mean, it's a spirituality thing.
Okay.
Man. It's basically taking, so everything's got, you got positive, negative, you got neutral, right? And it could all be transmuted. So anything negative can be transmuted into positive, basically. It's the alchemy process, basically. It's kind of turning metal into gold type of deal. But you can do that with thoughts. You can do that with emotions. You can do that with anything. You can take anything. So a lot of it's just visualization. So like in spirituality, for example, you experience like the words like stress, fear, anxiety, like you experience those, you picture those words like coming into your body, like you breathe them in your nostrils, for example, and you like just picture them in your mind, like dissolving in your body, and then you blow out like, positivity, love, things like that. That's transmuting darkness is what that is. So
I love that.
It's really just, it's a mindset thing more than anything else is all it is. It's, you just take your mind and you just let your mind, take negative experiences and turn them into positive experiences. It's like it's emotional intelligence.
Okay.
It's pausing. It's not letting your emotions control yourself. So instead of just reacting immediately, you're pausing, you're taking a second. That's transmuting darkness. That's transmuting evil. It's transmuting that negativity into positivity. Is really what it is.
Freaking love that. No, I think that's amazing. I never heard it, spoken like that. So thank you for sharing
I'm
that.
only learning this stuff. I'll be real honest with you, man. I've started going down a crazy spiritual rabbit hole about a year and a half ago, man. So it's done some amazing things to my life. It's changed my life amazingly. It's brought me close to God and a lot of other things, man. So, and that's also something that's benefiting me and my daughter and our relationship. So we went to church for the first time on Sunday.
This
past Sunday,
Wow.
yeah. So I've never been a church. Well, I'd say I've never been a church person. I attended Mormon church for like 3 or 4 years, but never really been into organized religion.
Okay.
But she enjoys it. She just enjoys the environment. And so we're trying to do more things as a family together. I've started going down a spiritual path about a year and a half ago. So it's funny for my birthday, her and my wife were asking me, I had a birthday back in the end of May. And they're asking me, what do you want to get? Well, I'm not a gifts person. I hate material things. I just can't stand it. I was like, just something from the heart. I was like, I want something from the heart. And so my daughter did one of those cool little coupon books, man. It's like little coupon books, free passes to different things. A lot of things that just spending time with her is really what it was. And
I love that.
And one of them was, let's go to church together. And so she asked me, and I wanted to do it 2 weeks ago, and something got in the way. We couldn't do it. So she asked me a couple of days ago. She's like, probably like on Thursday or something, hey, you want to go to church on Sunday? I was like, yeah, let's all go as a family. So we all kind of got up and went, man. So
has she been going to church already?
So she kind of does, yeah. So her aunt would take her a couple times.
Okay.
And so with both her aunt and a friend, actually. So she's kind of gone here and there over the years. Her family's deep Catholic.
Okay.
But she was never really too much into that. She got baptized Catholic, and she got, went that whole path and did what all those things there. But it was other churches that her friends kind of brought her into, and her aunt brought her into, and she went and attended. She goes with her boyfriend every now and then.
Okay.
And it's just something she really enjoys. She just loves it. She reads from her Bible, things like that. And so when I started going down my spiritual path about a year and a half ago, that's kind of brought us even closer together too. And so now we want to do a lot more things that are along that front, church things and things like that. So,
I love that.
We have a plan the next couple Sundays to go to a couple other churches. I want to test
to
out.
kind of see.
Yeah, I want to test out a few more. So the one that she likes to go to is Oak Hills, so it's kind of far out of the way.
Okay.
I got another one that's right down the street from my house that I've heard really good things about. So we're just going to go kind of do a little tour and kind of just find where our vibe's at and find what mix. But more so than anything, it's just about bonding as a family, man.
It is.
Bonding as a family and bringing God into your life and just bonding, man. So
I love it. Let me ask you this. You said you went down the spiritual path a year and a half ago. Was there a moment that caused you to do that?
Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of know a little bit of my background. My background's athletics. My background's exercise science. I'm nutrition and a lot of other things. Everything's exercise. Everything's sports, right?
Sure.
And so I'm really, really big into my recovery from my exercise. I train very intensely, and therefore my recovery is very intense. And so one of the things that I use for recovery, or I'd started to use for recovery, is sound therapy.
Okay.
So basically, just using sound frequencies to help recover the body. It's rooted in ancient traditions. There's a lot of science behind it, but it's using sound frequencies to heal the body.
Okay.
I was sitting out on my deck one day, man, going through some sound therapy. And it took me into a deep meditation that caused me to kind of, mentally kind of go off into space and some of the things that I experienced and the feelings that I had during that moment caused me to want to experience that more and experiment with that more.
Sure.
So really, it was kind of more of it wasn't never meant to find God, man.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. Physical recovery for my body that took me into kind of astral projection and moments that I experienced that you'd have to be in those moments to understand them.
Sure.
You can't really talk about them too much because
Right.
it doesn't get the point across. But knowing what I felt and what I experienced in those moments was true and real.
That's all that matters.
And yeah, dude. And so it for me, it was like opening a can. It was like, cracked it open, let's go. And so I've been going down it for about 1.5 years, man. And
Wow.
lo and behold, it tied into, I was somebody that was very big into ancient history, ancient mysteries, a lot of ancient stuff. And so it's kind of, spirituality kind of tied me more into that a little bit and kind of took me down some studying and down those kind of pathways. And that just casually led me into God, man.
Wow.
It wasn't my ancient learning, the ancient knowledge stuff that I was trying to study and learn about just led me down a path to God. And started connecting a lot of dots.
Sure.
Just recently read the Bible front to back.
What was your reason to do that from beginning to end like that?
Because if I'm going to do something like that, I've got to learn it all, man.
Okay.
So I can't just get pieces of information here and there. It's like the way my brain kind of works. If I'm going to learn something, I want to learn the most accurate versions of it. So I got the most accurate version of the Bible you possibly can, and the most unadulterated version of it. I got to read it from front to back. I'm actually going through it the second time now. I'm starting to read it the second time. Since then, I've read a lot of other books, a lot of other spiritual books, a lot of other things. But it's just been this amazing experience for me, man. That's been personal. That's really been, it's got me through a lot of rough times over the last couple of years. It's changed my life personally, and it's also brought me and my family closer together.
Wow.
Just the changes that have happened in me are starting to reflect in the family, obviously, positively.
Okay.
And I've noticed a lot of changes in my wife. I've noticed changes in my daughter. It's created a much more loving environment in the house. Just a lot of positive things that are just building on each other, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and it goes back to one of those things is like, if it feels good, why not stop?
Exactly, man. It loves the frequency, man. And when you have that in your house, when you have that frequency in your house,
I love it.
around your house, and it's a feeling you don't want to let go, man.
You don't.
It's a feeling you want to stay in forever and you want to ride it forever. And honest, that was the feeling that I felt that caused me to go down this path, man. Just an overall sense of feeling of love that you've never felt before.
And
man.
you didn't want it to go away?
And I didn't want to go away. And it's amazing when you feel it. And so when I go through my meditation now, man, I hope that I feel those moments. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. But I try to create that environment in my house now.
Right.
And it's awesome to see where it's going and how it's building and what it's becoming. It's awesome, man.
It's all about growth, like you said.
It's all about growth. It's really what it is, man. You can choose to grow and evolve in life, or you can choose to wither and die.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen to you. It's those checkpoint moments that you have in your life where you can make a decision to go one way or the other. And
Sure.
It's talking
All about choices.
It's talking to that voice in the head. It's, hey, voice in the head's trying to tell you to do the right thing. Usually, like if you avoid that voice for long enough, it eventually becomes a negative voice.
Absolutely.
But in the beginning, it's a good voice. It's a positive voice. It's the voice you're supposed to be listening to. And when you make those decisions, and you build on those moments, your life flourishes. It thrives,
100%.
both personally, both with your relationships, with your family. And it's when you make those negative choices or decide not to listen to it that those things start to cascade and go the opposite direction, man. So, I'm blessed, man, to be where we're at now and to where the spirituality has taken me, where God's taken me, to what it's done with my family, how it's brought me and my daughter closer, my wife closer. It's all good things right now, man.
It is. I mean, I'm glad that you're able to share this stuff to the world and to other dads out there that may be going through certain situations. I mean, it's important that we get these stories out there and inject some positivity back into the world. And going back to choices and decisions, I want to touch, a little bit before we go about Gameday Men's Health. Yeah. What prompted you to make that decision to come on board and do this?
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't want to make the story too long, but I've got to start with the divine intervention piece of it because that's otherwise I'll be sitting here. I never had a plan to be a business owner this early in life. I was thinking about it like 5 years down the road. Never really any straight goal on it. No set goal on it. Just, hey, at some point in time, I want to own a business. That was kind of it. Mm-hmm. Then I had a boss that kind of upset me, man. I had a boss that upset me one day. And when he did, a divine intervention moment happened to me. something jumped right in my head. And what jumped in my head is I was on a business trip at the time in Colorado.
Okay.
In my hotel room when my boss, I got off this phone call with my boss. And he pissed me off, and what jumped in my mind was a news article that I'd read. And I'd read it before I left San Antonio, and it was about a local business owner that was getting ready to franchise his business. Well, what his business did was exactly what my background was, working for the government in exercise science and things like that. And so I was like, oh, cool. I had read this article. It's like, that's pretty cool. Had not thought of it since then until I'm in this moment. And when my boss pissed me off, two things happened. I hung up the phone. And I said right then and there, in that moment to myself, I was like, I'm never working for another human being again. And right after I said that, that article jumped in my brain.
Wow.
And it was like God just took it and was like, boom. This is before the spiritual stuff. This is before all that stuff. It just, boom. I was always still big on divine intervention, intuition, things like that. That's always been a huge part of my life. And so I've always latched onto those moments, grasped those moments, always trusted my intuition. But it was like God just took it. And keep in mind, I was a believer in a higher power at this point in time, but not really knowing whether it was God or aliens or whatever the case may be. But it was God taking that out. Now I know that it was God taking that and planting it right in your brain. Hey, here's that news article. Remember this?
I love that.
So, dude, 10 minutes later, I'm on the phone with their director of operations of that company.
You called right away.
So I went to I had to look up the website. I had to remember what the news article was. I found the news article. I reread it, found the company name, went to their website, looked at the company. At the top of the company's website, they had a franchise button. 10 minutes later, I'm on the phone with their dude.
Wow.
And so that was the story about why I'm sitting here now.
Sure.
It's crazy how it happened. It was a firestorm. So obviously things didn't work out with that company.
Right.
Ended up settling on Gameday. But I'm here now, man, because my passion has always been exercise. It's always been health. It's always come very naturally to me. I've always been somebody that's taken exercise and health so seriously to my life, and it's been a huge part of my life. And I know that that's not natural for most people.
It's not.
Most people, it doesn't come naturally to them. It's hard work.
It's hard work.
So I recognize that. I recognize that, and I've always wanted to take that passion, take that natural ability that I have, and kind of pass it on to people. Also, I'm somebody that anytime I would see unhealthy individuals, like I don't see like somebody sees somebody that's out of shape, right? There's a fat guy.
Right.
That wasn't how my mind thought. My mind thought there's a sick guy. That individual's sick. Because
that's such an interesting perspective.
Because that's actually what's going on.
It is.
You're actually sick. Is
They
what
are.
you're doing. You're actually dying. Is what's going on. It's just it's at a slower pace, but or at a faster pace. But that's where my mind always went. It's like, and then my mind would go to the mental side of it too, not just the physical side, but the mental side. Picturing that individual at home, sitting on their couch, not happy with themselves, getting into their mental piece of
Eating
it,
another piece of cake.
depression, all that kind of stuff. So that's where my mind always went with this. So I came to a point in my government career I had a little pause in it. And I was like, I'm going to finally pursue my passion. And at that point in time, I was becoming a personal trainer and a nutrition coach.
Okay.
So I started studying for all that stuff, and I became a personal trainer and nutrition coach. Started helping people on that front. Kind of took that to the next level. Really got real deep into exercise science, working with special warfare, the military, like really helping individuals get in much better shape and conditioning. But I always had a huge passion for the health aspect of it, for wanting people to be healthier, for trying to influence people to be healthy, both from the mental aspect and from the physical aspect.
Right.
Just teaching people, trying to help people, just to be a healthier individual. And so when this opportunity came up for Gameday, it made perfect sense. The products and the services that we provide here lead to people being happier. They lead to people being healthier, whether that's on the physical side of the house, whether that's on the mental side of the house. Things that we do here with testosterone.
Right.
It's like what it does for your mental health is so amazing. And so when I came across this business, I knew that we'd really be helping a lot of people. The peptides were just emerging. I knew where peptides were going to go for medicine and what peptides were going to do for medicine in the future. Root cause changes in the body, cellular changes in the body. So I had an opportunity. I was like, okay, man, this is an awesome opportunity where I can go and I can really help a lot of people. And so that's why I got in this business, man. I got in this business to really help people be healthier individuals, both physically and mentally. We do a lot of things with mental health here as well.
Okay. What do you do for that?
It's on our peptide therapy. So there's certain peptide therapies that really focus on mental and brain health. And it can do some amazing things for depression, anxiety. I work very closely with a lot of special warfare members because of my background. So traumatic brain injuries can rewire brain structures for traumatic brain injuries.
Oh, wow.
Can help with PTSD. So a lot of different things, man. So I got in this business to help people be healthy physically and mentally. That's what I did. We've already talked about the material piece of man. I am not a money motivated individual, man. I don't care about money. I did not get into business for money. I don't care about money. I care about helping people. I want people to be healthy. So when I came across this opportunity, it's the opportunity to do it, man. So the way that I run this business, brother, I don't count numbers. I don't know how many patients I have. I don't really look at the numbers too much. I don't care because I do it from a place of goodness. I do it from a place of the heart. I do it from a place of wanting to help people.
Sure.
And so that's why I do what I do, man. And so it's amazing to see the lives that we've changed. You know, we've been open 17 months, and to see the changes that men have had. I can't tell you how many people have said I've saved their life. You know,
Yeah, you can. I mean,
dude,
I can't even count. Right? I
to
mean,
hear people say that to you, that you saved their life.
Right.
The example that I gave of my buddy, he's one of them. That's going through the divorce and stuff. He said that to me in tears in my office back there not too long ago. So it's knowing the positive changes that I'm making in individuals, man, is absolutely amazing. And that's why we do what we do. That's why I do what I do. I know it's odd for a business owner to say that he doesn't care about money, man, but I can't emphasize this enough, man. I don't care about it, dude. Money is a materialistic piece of paper in my point of view, and I just don't care about it, man. I want enough money to put a roof over my family's head, put food on our table, and enough money to give it back to people.
Right.
That's what I want to do.
No,
so
I love it.
all the money, I mean, I think I've told you, I've got a plan to own as many of these in San Antonio as I can. And my goal with it is to give all that damn money back to people, man. I want to give it back to people. I want to extend it out to individuals and improve other people's lives, man. Because that's really why I got in this business. And I want to give that opportunity to people.
And I will be a true testament to that. And we didn't speak on this at the beginning of the podcast, but Vern is now a sponsor of the Dad Side. On the episode that aired last week, there's an ad on there now with Gameday Men's Health, and it's because Vern wanted to give back. I mean, he financially supported the Dad Side for us to be able to partner together, and that's because he wanted to give back. Like you said, he's not just blowing smoke. He's not saying things just to be. He's not doing this for positive press. He's doing it to share his story, to share his passion, and he truly is giving back.
Yeah, man. It's like I said, when I saw your post, it aligns with the dad and the family side of stuff that I'm trying to do. You know, the very first thing that I did was partner with every military veteran organization, nonprofit that I possibly could that does good work,
right?
Because of all that they do to give back to individuals. In my background, my business partner is also retired military, career-long Department of Defense professional like myself. So, you know, military and government's been a huge part of our lives. And so one of our very first things that we wanted to do, man, is like, hey, we're going to partner with every veteran organization that we possibly can that does good work. And I think we're partnered with about 6 of them right now, man. All nonprofits that don't take a single penny from anybody. We donate our time, we donate our money. And it's always for a good cause, man. So it's really what it's all about, dude. It's about giving back to people that are less fortunate than yourself, man. And for me personally, you know, knowing that I was always physically and mentally healthy because it came naturally to me, and that wasn't natural to most other people, that I wanted to give back to people, you know, to take that and share that with other people, man. And so try to inspire other people and be an example for other people. And
I love that.
Yeah, and so that's why we do what we do, man. And it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
I mean, look at you. You're in great shape. You could be one of those, you know, influencers with, you know, posing his body and his muscles and attracting the wrong people, but that's not who you are.
No, it's not.
You want to help people. I truly see that. And I saw that in the first time I had the conversation with you, saw it when we first met, and I couldn't be happier to align myself with the other business. I wouldn't even dare dream it. I mean, I'm honored to be here with you, man.
Likewise,
I really
man.
am.
No, likewise, man. And what you're doing, man, probably even more important than what I'm doing, man. It's like just helping dads connect with their children. You know, I can't imagine the number of dads that you're probably going to reach with this that, you know, maybe aren't the best dads.
Sure.
You know, maybe they're the dads that are on the fence, that are the narcissist or the egotistical person or you know, selfish individual. And maybe you're going to reach somebody with some of these messages, man, and it's going to be that checkpoint for them. That switch that happened for you in that room, it's going to be the switch that happens for them. And they're going to be like, hey, you know, it's time for me to correct my shit and become a good dad, man.
Yeah.
And be part of my kids' lives. So yeah, I mean, so what you do is absolutely amazing, man. I want to be around. It's that vibrational state, man. I want to be around that love vibration, that positive vibration.
Sure.
People doing good work for other people. People that aren't in it for themselves. They're extending it to other people. That's why we partner with all these veteran organizations. That's why your post resonated with me on the page that I'm already attached to for children. It's just like, hey, this is another individual out there that's doing very good work. That's not being selfish. That's out there to help other people, to improve other people's lives in whatever aspect that is. And with you, it just happens to be dad and children, fathers and children. And so it's about being around that vibration, man. It's about being around more people that are like you, that are doing good work, doing good things, spreading love, spreading positivity. And just good things happen when that happens, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Karma comes, karma is a real thing, man. It's like when you're doing the right things for the right reasons, it's going to come back to you tenfold, man. So, that's why we do what we do, and that's why I'm proud to be partnered with guys like you, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Vern.
appreciate it.
And let me ask you this. This is something that I typically do at the end of the show, and I always like one of the guests, the guest who's speaking, to kind of just give some advice. And you, I will ask this. I'll say it this way. You know, you came into a role where you were not. You came into a role when you raising a daughter in a situation that you weren't looking for. In fact, you were against. You said, "I don't want to be around children. I don't want to date a woman that has children." But you avoided all those and came through and became a dad. And to hear the stories of the daughter that you raised today is because you made that decision. What, if you could, offer some advice to a dad that's going through those similar situations, those same, checkpoints in their head, what kind of advice would you give that dad kind of maybe going through that same struggle that you were going through to figure out, hey, I'm going to be the dad now?
Yeah, man. Oh, that's tough to give advice right there, man, because I don't even know if I had advice to give to myself, to be honest with you. I don't know. I guess my advice would be is to picture your life, down the road. Picture your life 10, 15, 20 years down the road, if you're somebody like me that, never had a thought of having kids, maybe picture yourself with them. Picture yourself with the type of person that you might be, maybe do some self-assessment, assess who you are currently right now.
Sure.
Are you perfectly content with who you are? Do you love yourself? Are you happy with yourself? Would you want to share yourself with others? And if that's the case and you're content not having kids, then maybe that's the right decision for you.
Right.
But maybe if you in those checkpoint moments, if you're looking at yourself and you're analyzing yourself, maybe if you don't like what you see in the mirror or that voice that's in your head that you're not listening to, maybe if you're not agreeing with it and doing the opposite of that, maybe it's time to do some assessment there and say, hey, maybe a family, maybe a kid, maybe something else in my life could be that switch, could be that change that turns me into the human being and the man that I want to be. So maybe that'd be the advice that I give, man, is like, assess yourself. It goes back to what we talked about, right? Do you love yourself?
Yeah.
If you truly love yourself, and you don't want to have kids, okay, maybe that's the right decision for you. But if you do that self-assessment and you come out of it thinking, hey, maybe I don't love myself, maybe a child and a family could be that thing that makes you love yourself.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing your dad's
man.
side today.
Yeah.
Vern, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, so we're Gameday Men's Health. You can go to the website, GamedayMen'sHealth.com, go to the Alamo Ranch location. We also have a phone number, 830-376-9100. You can find us on socials as well, Gameday Men's Health, Alamo Ranch. We're over here on Wiseman Boulevard off of 151 over in the Alamo Ranch area, and we're getting ready to open New Braunfels.
All right, Vern, thank you for sharing your dad's side, man. I really, really appreciate it. Hope everybody got to get some good knowledge and some just positive energy from this episode. And as always, welcome to the dad's side.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right.
Cool.
You already know what